PAL Lighting is a globally distributed line of wirelessly controlled underwater LED lighting and controls for pools, spas, landscapes, water features, and outdoor accent lighting. Our passion is to be able to light up any space, whether it's a pool or spa, an outdoor living area, or anything else in between. The result is the most powerful, reliable, and diverse line of wirelessly controlled lights in the aquatics industry that are fully compatible with today's major pool automation systems. Light up the night with PAL Lighting. Ready to learn more? Visit us on the web today at pallighting.com.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Pool Magazine Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Joe Trusty, editor of Pool Magazine, and today I'm chatting with Brad Duncan, National Pool Products Trainer for Raypak. It's a pleasure to have you with us today on the show, Brad.
Thanks, Joe. It's good to be here. Always happy to talk to you folks.
Well, Raypak is a brand with tremendous market penetration with its line of residential pool and spa heaters. I think one of the best products that hit the market in the past decade would have to be the Avia line. And in particular, we're eager to talk with you about the Avia HD with Nitek.
Great. Happy to talk about that. You're correct about that. It's a tremendous product, and we're pretty proud of it.
Well, what are some of the key features of the Avia HD with Nitek? And how is this product a major step up in terms of performance and functionality in comparison to the Avia?
Well, I should point out from the start that in terms of functionality, that remains the same. The standard Avia and the Avia HD with Nitek. So the heater control, scheduling, integrated Wi-Fi, the Protect Shield, installation versatility, serviceability, things like that. The efficiency is the same. And this is where it gets interesting because the HD, of course, a heavy duty product. So the closest thing you might compare that to would be a cupro-nickel type heat exchanger. With cupro-nickel, copper is the standard that we use in the industry because copper is it's a great conductor of heat. It absorbs heat well, it releases heat well, but it's a little soft for the type of water that we're typically dealing with in a swimming pool. So to make it a little more durable, the industry uses something called cupro-nickel. This is simply a copper that's had nickel added to it at the smelting level, and it does make it harder. It makes it more resistant to the types of harsh conditions we can expect from a swimming pool. The minor little problem that we don't talk about very much is the fact that you lose some efficiency. You know, when we make that metal harder, we make it slightly less efficient. The fact that our heavy duty Nitek product actually retains the same efficiency as copper is a pretty big thing. So the efficiency is the same between the two. Okay, this is the first time anyone's in the industry has tried anything like this. It really helps with longevity, the strength of the product. What we've done here is rather than take that nickel and add it to the copper, we've simply coated the whole thing with nickel. So we have nickel, the hardest part, on the surfaces where it's needed the most, right on the surface there. And what we found was that this increased erosion resistance by 300% over copper and 200% over cupro-nickel. In the process, we found out that, hey, guess what? It's 50% likely to scale up because it's smoother. The scale doesn't have anything for it to stick to. We think these are all some pretty remarkable features that we've come up with and puts us, I think, a little bit ahead of the industry in terms of a heavy duty product for a heat exchanger.
Yeah, it certainly is a differentiator in the Pepsi taste test challenge there, but
I think so.
Raypak was very forward-thinking in the design of the Avia. I mean, I was hoping that you could talk to us about some of the elements that you guys felt were critical to bring to this new model.
Well, when we started down this road to come up with a new heater, we used what we call VOC. We went to the customers, to voice of customer, to find out what it is the customers wanted out of a heater. As long as you're going to build a brand new product from scratch, you might as well get some input on that. And we did that. And initially, we were looking to make it smaller than our previous model, which is the Raypak Digital. We were looking to get maybe a little more efficiency out of that. But, when you start asking people, hey, what do you want in a swimming pool heater? You might get some far reaching responses there. Things like, we want it to be fully diagnosing or self repairing or something like that. Now, those attributes remain on the horizon, but at the same time, we came up with some things or were given some things to consider that were maybe not so unreasonable. Things like Wi-Fi control without on-site automation. So built-in Wi-Fi, we were able to do that. Well, they wanted it smaller and more efficient than the previous model. Yeah, we were able to do that as well. We were also able to use a straight tube heat exchanger, which we feel like decreases the chances of heat exchanger tube degradation. And we came up with the Protect Shield, which is a device that comes standard on this heater that mitigates the effects of damage to metallic surfaces due to ionic migration, or what the industry has typically referred to as electrolysis, although that is somewhat inaccurate.
Well, how does the Avia HD with Nitek make it easier for pool owners to control and manage their heater?
Well, I touched just a little bit there on the Wi-Fi that's built in there. So the Wi-Fi, and again, this is a standard feature, it is not an upgrade. It comes on every Avia. This allows customers and servicers, for that matter, to control the temperature. They can set scheduled programs on the heater. They can operate the heater entirely off-site using our Raypak app. The app is free. The download is free. There are no ongoing charges for use. You can program your heater to send you alerts if there is a failure of some sort. For instance, something as simple as the water switch being open, your pressure switch is open due to some simple thing. There was a wind event and your skimmer basket got chock full of leaves and it stopped the flow enough so that the heater won't fire. You can get a text through the app on your phone that indicates that that is a problem. Your heater is not currently working because of this. The water switch is open.
Well, let me play devil's advocate for a moment. We have a lot of pool professionals who listen to our podcast. Why is this product so appealing to those who are responsible for servicing the equipment?
Well, for starters, it's a drop-in replacement for similarly sized heaters on the market, which means that the plumbing and the gas lines will match up perfectly. So you take the small footprint heater out, you put an Avia in its place, it will line up perfectly. Also, this heater is serviceable from the top, which means you can pull the top off, and most of the servicing, really, you don't even need to take the panels off the side until you get down to removing the heat exchanger, something like that. So there's no side opening junction box. If you may be aware of a heater that has a junction box on it with a door that opens sideways, which could possibly cause problems if the heater is close to a wall or other obstruction. We don't have that problem. Everything opens from the top.
Well, what has the reception been like with pool professionals since the Avia HD launched?
Well, I'd say pretty good. Last year at the Pool Nation Awards, we received a Heater of the Year. So that's 2023 Heater of the Year. We felt like that's indicative of a pretty good reception there. I teach a lot of classes on this product, and what I generally see is a lot of excitement about the ease of service and installation, the fact that Avia with Nitek has a higher efficiency rating than similar products with Cupro Nickel. It's generally pretty well received.
Yeah, I see the line of pool pros about 3 deep looking to talk to you about the product at a lot of the different trade shows that I attend. So I know that a lot of people are actually interested in learning more about the Avia HD.
Indeed, this has been my experience as well.
Well, sustainability has definitely become the definitive watchword over the last decade, and manufacturers in particular are paying increased attention to the impact their products have on the environment. What role does the new flagship heater play in helping Raypak achieve its overarching sustainability goals?
Well, in terms of sustainability, I would say that Raypak is one of the manufacturers you're talking about. We're a division of Rheem, and back in 2019, Rheem set a pretty aggressive set of sustainability goals for all of their business units. And as a result, products sold by Rheem have caused the avoidance of nearly 40 million metric tons of CO2 emissions since 2019 and over 330 million tons of landfill waste avoided. One of these goals that we've set for ourselves is to try to go to zero waste to landfill. If you've ever seen any type of manufacturing, you can see how much waste is produced. Every time you cut something, you produce waste. We're looking to try to either reuse or recycle everything, so we're not sending everything, or anything rather, to the dump. As an individual product, Avia HD has a higher efficiency, which makes it a lot more environmentally friendly. The Protect Shield extends the life of the product, so you're not buying a new product as often. Also extending the life would be our longer lasting straight tube heat exchanger. Without bends in the tubes, we feel like the tubes are going to be a lot less vulnerable to the type of degradation that you might otherwise expect. Of course, as a low NOx appliance, we are reducing carbon dioxide that is released.
Well, I could talk about the Avia HD all day, but there's another product in Raypak's lineup that is another big sustainability standout, and that's the new Crosswind V for vertical discharge, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, I was hoping you could give us some better insight as to the features of that particular product.
Well, heat pump technology is far more efficient than gas heaters. So this, in terms of sustainability, is a standout right away. But as far as efficiency goes, we measure the efficiency a little bit differently, but I can compare that for you. A gas heater, modern gas heaters come in about 84% efficient, which means for every dollar's worth of energy you put into the device, you get about 84 cents worth of heat in the water, which is not bad. That's pretty good. If you have a heat pump device with a coefficient of performance at, say, 5.9, that means for every dollar's worth of energy we put into this device, we get $5.90 worth of heat in the water. That's like 7 times the efficiency. Okay. So right off the bat, it's going to be a more sustainable product, just, based on the technology there. In terms of our product, we use a powder coated steel cabinet. It has removable panels that protect the evaporator coils, but can be taken off for cleaning. We use a 4-blade fan that is designed specifically to be as quiet as possible, because you don't want to hear that thing, rattling away there. There are some built-in automation features in this device. We feature a very quiet, very efficient Copeland scroll compressor. There is a titanium tube heat exchanger for durability. In fact, the titanium tube has a 10-year warranty on it and 2 years labor. So 10 years parts and 2 years labor just for the heat exchanger on that.
I understand this is one of the few heat pumps on the market that come with a cooling mode. Can you tell us a little bit more about that aspect of functionality with this particular product?
Well, the deluxe model does have a both heating and cooling mode within a certain temperature band. So, look, you have a pool for a reason. You want to swim, but you want it to be warm enough to be comfortable, but you don't want it to be so warm that it's not refreshing. So, all right, what if we could set a temperature band wherein it won't get any colder than X and it won't get any warmer than Y? So, hey, I like a swimming pool about 75 degrees. I don't want it to get any hotter than 85, because at that point, it's like a bath. So, what if I set it so that it will heat until it gets to 75? And then if the sun continues to warm the water, it will cool beyond 85. And that's what your heat cool product does for you. So this will go both directions in that way. And that's programmable within the product yourself. You can set your band wherever you like it.
I like that feature. When it comes to system automation, you were just mentioning that a moment ago. Raypak is going along with some of its collaborations. I heard that Poolside Tech and Raypak are collaborating. I was hoping maybe you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we have recently concluded talks with Poolside Tech. We've agreed to work together to combine the best pool heater with the best and newest automation in the industry. This would be the Attendant. This is a brand new partnership, fresh off the blocks there. We're still rolling out the details, so stay tuned for ongoing announcements about that. I'm not even sure how much I'm allowed to say exactly, but I can say that we're just tremendously excited to be working with the makers of a product with this type of innovation. I believe you had Poolside Tech on the show.
Yeah, I had a great discussion about the Attendant with Stan Resnick, the CTO of Poolside Tech, a little over a year ago.
Great. Yes, I've met most of those folks, good people, very sharp people, and they've developed a product that is just mind-boggling. They have features that to me are almost absurd. when I think of the idea that this device will actually monitor the weather for you to tell you whether or not the heater needs to be turned on, I just want to say, no, come on. It won't do that.
Talking
Will.
about
I mean,
AI tech before. I mean, they've got a lot under the hood there.
it is a really tremendous product. We're pretty excited about working with them on that.
Oh, I understand you can't say much, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how this collaboration pans out. Brad, thanks so much for appearing on the show today to answer some questions we had about the Avia HD and Crosswind V. Really enjoyed our conversation and appreciate you taking time out to connect with our audience.
Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a lot of fun. I do hope your visitors will take a moment to visit our Raypak website. That's www.raypak.com. Raypak is spelled R-A-Y-P-A-K. Don't put a C in there. It won't take you anyplace. This is just a tremendous source of information on Raypak heaters and heat pumps. By the way, if you're interested in Raypak product training, if you go to the top of the page there on the opening page, you can click on training, and that will take you to our training page. You can scroll down to pool calendar and click there for specific training events. If you go a little further down the page, you can click on upcoming Raypak trade shows and you'll see those. But I can tell you right now, we'll be at nearly all the major shows across the U.S. I have a very busy season ahead of me.
I look forward to seeing you there, Brad. That's all the time we have left for today. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow, and we'll catch you next time on another episode of Pool Magazine Podcast.
PAL Lighting is a globally distributed line of wirelessly controlled underwater LED lighting and controls for pools, spas, landscapes, water features, and outdoor accent lighting. Our passion is to be able to light up any space, whether it's a pool or spa, an outdoor living area, or anything else in between. The result is the most powerful, reliable, and diverse line of wirelessly controlled lights in the aquatics industry that are fully compatible with today's major pool automation systems. Light up the night with PAL Lighting. Ready to learn more? Visit us on the web today at pallighting.com.